So, I'd like to welcome a good man, coworker of mine actually, a guy I've got to know the past, I don't know, what has it been, a year now?
Definitely.
Meeze Da Gaawd. And without further ado, I'll let you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then I'll tell them why I have you here.
Awesome. So my stage name is Meeze Da Gaawd, Meeze Da Gaawd, Gaawd.
And you said that there's like an acronym with that.
Yeah, so it stands for Going Against All World Discrimination. And me and one of my guys in college, we were rapping together all the time, and then we went through two different groups. I'm home base from New York, and he was from Philly, so at first it was New Delphia. And then as we got a little older, we got a little smarter, and we came up with that because, you know, that's just something important to us in the world, so we tried to get a little deep with it.
Yeah, and then 2016 came around, and discrimination's cool again. So we can, hooray! But no, I think it's an important message to send, especially in the face of what we're faced with. I know I don't want to get political, right? We want to invite everyone in. We're going against discrimination here. But no, so you are actually going to be featured on the 27th on the Loaded Lux Freestyle Hot 97. He's got a little show.
Yes.
Is it webisodes? Can people watch it on TV, or is it strictly web-based?
Yeah, so it's strictly web-based, and it's going to be on Hot 97's YouTube channel, and it's going to be promoted on Hot 97's Instagram and Facebook page, as well as Loaded Lux and his team. And pretty much Loaded Lux is, to me, I consider him the Jay-Z of battle rap. He's just incredible. Like, he's just so enlightened, and I feel like when he goes into battle, he does his homework. He's very strategic about it. And he's so smart, he can break you down, and I feel like he really makes people feel like they're dumb. Like, it's so crazy. So he started a challenge on Instagram, and I entered and I got submitted, and they gave me an email and said that they liked me. He handpicked me. And it's awesome because it's only 16 people out of everybody who submitted. So just that alone, I feel like it's an accomplishment. But it's going to be on YouTube. And you vote one at a time. So pretty much it's going to be 4 MCs. They're going to play the whole episode. After that, you can click on 4 different videos. So you want to watch mine or the other 3 contestants in my round. You click on theirs, and then it's a green button. You just press vote. You don't have to download the app or anything.
Right, and that loads through the actual Hot 97 webpage.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So if you watch on YouTube, basically there will be extra links like this is Meeze, this is this one, this is that one. You want to click on Meeze's and then click the green check mark to vote. And that is a very important thing. So obviously it was important to you because, not that you idolized him, but you looked up to him. So
yeah.
What can you tell everyone just about Hot 97? Because you are a New Yorker, and I know in today's day and age, radio is not quite what it used to be. So what was Hot 97 for you growing up? Because as an East Coast guy, every rapper was shouting out Hot 97 just trying to get on the radio.
Yo, so it was groundbreaking. So Hot 97 was the biggest hip-hop, and not just hip-hop, but for us and my community, the biggest hip-hop platform in New York. And let alone New York, like you said, it was coastal, and everybody knew what it was. Like, everybody who was somebody had to go through Hot 97. So they played all the great music, DJ mixes all the time throughout the day. Everybody just had to be there. You had to be a part of Hot 97. So for me to be a part of this now, and like you said, I'm from New York, so for the opportunity for me to be a part of a station like that, home base in New York, is just incredible. I feel like the stars aligned for me on this one.
That's awesome because, like I said, I don't think a lot of the youth today are people that aren't really, hip-hop heads. Not that I'm a hip-hop head, but I did listen quite a bit in high school. I don't want to date myself, but it was like the 99 into 2000 to go with a little Juvenile there. I know he's not an East Coast guy, but that was when I was listening. And then we started the twerk trend, We didn't know it then, but that's crazy. 20 years later,
that's crazy.
Now it's making people famous. I mean, Cardi B was twerking before she was probably rapping before she was twerking.
Right.
But I mean, is she the queen? Is that still a thing in female rap?
Oh, man.
I feel like there's room for more than one now. But when we were younger, one had to be the queen.
Yeah, and I think right now it's being forced upon it to be. Gotcha. Like you said, like before, I think it's enough room for everybody to eat. but it's like they'll acknowledge some people, and then some people they'll choose not to. So right now it's like whoever's putting out the hottest record is like the hottest. Period. Forget everything else.
Right.
It's about the hottest record right now, and unfortunately, not fortunately for her,
right,
it worked out. She do it consistently.
Right, and she really, I know when she first started, it seemed like she worked with Nicki, and then
right.
Once she got a little bit more clout, Nicki, I guess, got a little, I don't know if it was jealousy or what it was, but it just seemed like they could not be in the same room anymore.
I stay out of the cat stuff, man. Stay out of the cat fight.
Throwing stilettos at each other.
That's crazy.
I would love to be there and watch them, like, throw stilettos at each other at, like, the Met Gala, because that seems like the perfect place to do it, but I agree. I try to stay out of the... As you get older, I think maybe it's like testosterone levels go down or something. But you're like, what is everyone so mad about?
I have no idea. And it's sad for real, because like you said, it's enough room for both of them to coexist.
Oh, especially with all the different avenues. I know the music industry was shook when radio started going down, or then when Napster came around and CD sales started going down. But it's like you have YouTube revenue now, Instagram revenue. There's just so many streams of revenue. There's so many different ways to do it. Even a guy like NBA YoungBoy,
right,
who really is pretty much built himself up through YouTube, essentially, is ginormous.
Crazy. That's crazy. Like millions. Like that kid is getting millions.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So most of you probably have never heard of NBA YoungBoy, and this kid has hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. Like, it's not a small amount. It's not like you could go to his video and say, oh, he's got 12,000 views. No, it's hundreds of millions of views, and I guarantee you at least 50% of the population in our country couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And this kid's making millions of dollars. So I think it just speaks to the amount of money that there is to be made and how much room there is for everyone. So I want to back up. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. I do want to talk about you.
Yes,
so
sir.
we know you're a New Yorker. So you started in New York. When did you make your way to the great state of Delaware?
Oh, man. Take me back, man.
Yes.
So I came out here at the end of my freshman year, like my sophomore year in high school.
Okay, so it was later.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's go even further back. So, all right, so New York.
Okay.
Everybody knows about the 5 boroughs, right?
Yeah.
Were you born in the city?
No, I was outside. So I was in Long Island, and I was in the
Strong
town.
Island.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And it was a town called Rockville Center. So I got family all over, though, and all the boroughs and everything like that. But we was in Long Island in a town called Rockville Center, and it was like 15 minutes away from Queens. Like, that's where we did, like, our shopping and stuff like that. And then for, like, the later years in my, like, early teens, I moved to Rosedale, and I was in Queens with my sister and things like that. And then that's when I came to Delaware.
Was it family, job for parents? Like, what was kind of the...
So, unfortunately, I wasn't fortunate to have my mom and my dad, so I was raised by my grandmother, and did an awesome job. But when she passed away, I was forced to... Well, I wasn't forced to. I had a choice. And I just felt like the best thing was to be with my sister.
Right.
I felt like she would have given me the best opportunity in what she did. And she happened to be attending Del State. She went to Albany, graduated from Albany, got her bachelor's, and went to Del State for her master's. And she was like, you should come here with me, so on and so on. And that's what got me here.
That's actually, like, a crazy story to think, like, you have a... Like, she's, at that point, what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
And she's raising, like, a 15, 16-year-old.
Yes,
You're probably a big jackass to her multiple times.
Oh, man. Love her to death, but yeah. Because it was so tough because we grew up and we were close. Right. So she was like my best friend. You know what I mean? That's big sis. So when she had to take on a role as a mother and, you know what I mean, like raise me and try to give me guidance and that authority figure.
You're going to buck a little bit.
Oh, man, I was rebellious. And that's just my nature, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, my upbringing, it just made me tough. It made me have a chip on my shoulder. And, you know, I felt like I had the world figured out, like a lot of us did when we was younger. And when someone like that, I felt like she switched on me. And I was like, nah, I wasn't with it. So we clashed a lot. So, but I'm talking about to the point, she was pulling me off of the team. I'm like, yo, like, how is my sister pulling me off of a sports team? And football and track was, like, the only thing, like, keep me forward at sometimes. So it was, like, crazy. When I got pulled, I took that personal, you know what I mean?
Right.
But she was like, if your grades aren't this, then you can't play. And then, you know, hindsight, it's like, that made me because I went from, like, seriously, a 1 point something transferring from New York all the way to Delaware, to Dover High, and I graduated with a 3.75. So not only was I doing my thing athletically, but she made me achieve that academic aspect as well.
Right. So the cynical side, like that's a amazing
Right.
story, but the cynical side basically tells me that New York schools are harder than Delaware schools. And you came here and you were like, oh man, this is easy. I'm just flying right through that. I'm like 2 grades ahead of you guys. What are you hillbillies doing?
I mean, I wasn't gonna say that. It's not that. It was that I wasn't applying myself.
Right.
When I was out there, I was heartbroken about, you know, my grandmother and everything like that, and I was in a bad neighborhood. I was exposed to a lot, so, you know, the best thing for me to do was to relocate.
So silver lining and this is just my brain kind of spitballing. Did it make you almost become more of that artist because you're a little bit more reclusive? You have to learn a little bit more about yourself. Because
Yeah.
I feel like people that don't go through a ton of hardships, like myself. I mean, I'm literally, when people talk about white privilege, that it's like my pictures right there. It's like, hey, here's this kid. His parents paid for college. They were both there the whole time. So thanks for making me feel real shitty about myself. I appreciate that. But no,
come on, man.
No, but I just feel like that from that struggle, from that pain, you can really find yourself and then find those avenues out if you let yourself. Obviously, you can also self-destruct.
Right.
But do you think it helped you in your craft?
Yeah, well, before we even do that, I want to say your parents did what they were supposed to do. So don't feel guilty about that, all right? Forward, yeah, definitely, because it gave me something to talk about. It gave me a drive. I think the most people who can be influential have a lot of experience. So even at a young age, I had a lot of experience. I did a lot of things on my own. And, you know, I think that was one thing that made me naturally rebellious, you know what I mean?
Right.
I had a lot of feelings that I didn't know how to deal with at the time, so I was just figuring it out, man.
Right, and I think one of the ways to channel that is through music. You sit in your bedroom or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you close your door, and there's...
And I was that guy, like, I was just, like, naturally, you know, very social and things like that. I'm the life of the party. But,
Hey.
but yeah, so I was always, like, the type of guy, if we sitting around, I'll just start rapping. Just freestyling, just being goofy and funny
Right.
about stuff around and things like that in the cafeteria, things like that. And then I always kept a rap book, even like as a kid. I got in trouble for some of the things that was in my rap
Right.
book.
Right.
But I always did it. And, you know, sports took me a long way, but like in between, it was always a hobby of mine. It was a getaway for me.
All right, so we're going to come back to the upbringing, but you mentioned something there. You said you got in trouble for some of the things in your rap book. How do you feel about censorship and things like that? Because I'm very torn. So we work together. People know I work at a juvenile detention facility. And sometimes when I hear the lyrics, I'm like, this does influence these kids.
Right.
And kind of put them in a different mind frame than they should be. But at the same time, it also tells their story that otherwise might not have been told.
Yeah.
So I'm so torn on it. I don't think there really should be censorship, or we should be worried about what people are rapping about or what they're talking about or what they're portraying on TV.
Right.
Because it's probably someone's truth. And I'm just curious to see
Yeah.
kind of how you feel about as being an artist.
Yeah. So I think in my previous life, I was a hippie, man. And so with that being said, I feel it the same way. It's like, I feel everybody's entitled to whatever form or expression you want to use. You know what I mean? So however you feeling, if you want to say, if you want to scream, fuck.
Right.
You should be entitled to do that. You know what I mean? That's what we have freedom of speech for. So I encourage people to do that. So when I look at it like that, it's like, yeah, they do have an effect on like the youth and everything. Because if you think about it, these artists, they have more reach than like pastors. You know what I mean?
Big
Like
time.
they have a lot of reach. You know what I mean? Everything is everywhere you go. Grocery stores, whether it's your iPod, laptop, whatever, it's everywhere. So when you have that much of a reach, it's like you also have like a duty to trying to, if you're going to speak about what you're going through and be vulgar about it, just make sure that it's genuine and you're not encouraging what you're doing. You're just promoting that you made it out of that situation and what you're doing now, because obviously you're not doing that anymore.
Right. And one of the most, I think, tragic ones recently, for me anyway, was Juice WRLD. Because he rapped a lot about the opioids or the Molly or whatever, and that's unfortunately the way he passed away. And then when you read more into the story, that he did it to try, because he was afraid he was going to get arrested, so he tried to take a bunch of... It's like, it's
terrible.
The definition of tragedy, but also a cautionary tale. Like, there's a difference, like, of living the life, and then once you get there, more tell your story. You don't have to be the story anymore.
Right.
Just tell the story.
Yeah,
like eventually.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in that. And he was what, 21?
Yeah.
So
21.
He
just turned 21.
He was struggling, I think, to separate from that, and a lot of the guys, unfortunately, don't. So
yeah.
And speaking of that age, 20 to 21, so you're in Delaware. You're like a freshman. Obviously, you're not 21, but how much of a culture shock was that? Because that was in Delaware probably, 10 years ago. There's been a lot of growth in Delaware, but it's still no metropolis. So that had to be pretty huge for you to be able to hop on public transit. You're in Queens, you're in Manhattan, you're in the Bronx. Now, you can't even hop on a bus, really, to go to the beach.
Except for the school bus to school.
Right.
That was crazy. So, like you said, it was a culture. I never not seen a taxi cab. Right. That was like the first thing I noticed was no taxis. Like, all right, cool. There's no buses. They run every 10 hours.
Stars. There's actually stars.
And they talk completely different. When you're in New York, you don't realize you have an accent. We all talk the same. You know what I mean? So coming out here, like it was like Southern.
Yeah. I
had no idea what Delaware was until I got here. So I was like, all right. Their slang was different from mine. Like we even communicated different. So like everything was just like, oh. All right, we dress different.
Well, I know my dad's thing was because he moved down. He was older, obviously, but his big thing when we first moved down here was, "I'll get up with you in the morning." That's what a lot of people in Delaware would say. "I'll get up with you in the morning," or "I'll get up with you." And to my dad, that was like, "You're not waking up with me."
Right.
You're waking up with me.
Right.
I always heard that, and then I also heard from my family, "You sound like you're from Texas." But then I would go to Texas, and they sound like, "You sound like you're a Yankee, boy."
Oh,
so
man,
it's like Delaware is such a weird spot because people south of us, like South Carolina, think we sound like we're so far north, and then the New Yorkers are like, "These people are freaking hillbillies."
Yeah, I mean. They got cornfields out here, bro.
Yeah.
I've never seen that until I came here.
I've always explained to people they're like, "What's Delaware like?" I'm like, "There's gorgeous beaches, but for about 60% of the year, it smells like a porta potty, and it's just the economy. There's chicken shit and there's corn, and it just smells awful for about 60% of the year. You end up getting used to it, but if you go away for a week and come back, and you're like, "What? How am I used to this?"
Yeah. So, and I think that's what happened with me. So. Coming here, it was difficult to adapt, but like I said, I'm a very social person, so I got an outgoing personality. So I got up with like one or two people, and we've been friends like ever since. And they introduced me to like people and things like that, and in sports is what like got me. So once I started establishing myself like in sports, like. That's when I kind of get comfortable.
That's kind of the end.
Yeah. And I went from going to New York every weekend to like, I got a track meet or I got a football game, so I can't do that. So it made me adjust, and I had to adapt and had to get like comfortable here. And then, that got me like all the way through high school. And then after high school, I went to school in Pennsylvania.
And we don't want to relive the glory days.
Oh, yeah.
But football was your ticket, right? You played college sports.
Yeah. So, I played in high school, and I was varsity. I did all those good things, all state, blue and gold, everything like that. And then I got a scholarship to Lincoln University to run track and play football, and I did that for 4 years. And then after that, I was actually getting scouted by the NFL. So I had some tryouts, some workouts, and things like that. And I wound up playing in the PIFL and the AFL. And then I tore my ACL. My first professional game.
A lot of L's there.
Yeah, I took a lot of L's, man. And that was the worst one to take.
Yeah.
So after that, it was like, damn, man. And football really wasn't the go-to anymore. So let alone my passion. I don't mean to get sidetracked, but my passion for like kids and everything like that and doing what we do. I'm a counselor outside of music. The only thing I really was passionate about was music. So that's what really got me into music too.
Right. And I love that you said that because I think people have this misconception because I teach, and they're like, "Oh, teachers wanted to teach their whole life," and it's like some did, but by and large, most of us had other dreams.
Yeah.
But we just ended up. We liked working with kids, and I love what I do. Don't get me wrong, but I guarantee you'd rather be an NFL wide receiver
all the time.
All
the time, man. All the time.
Or the goal is to obviously now make it as a successful musician, right? So. It's like funny to me that people like look at people like us that work with kids and they're like, "Oh, that's got to be your passion." It's like it's one of them. Like, don't get it twisted.
What they don't understand is once we do this to a manner when we get to the masses and successfully, we're still going to be able to really do the things that we're passionate about. We're still going to be able to like tend to these kids. So like, say I blow up tomorrow, now I actually have the resources to do the
Right.
things for the youth that I wanted to do in the first place.
You'll just hit ignore when I call you.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, all right, so you're here for high school. You go to Pennsylvania for college. What brings you back to Delaware? Work? Because I know a lot of people end up going to a college, falling in love with the area, staying there, whatever it is. It didn't happen to me either. I went away to college for a little bit, was not for me. I came back, and I've been in Delaware since. Kind of one of those, some people call it a tragedy, but I'm very happy with the life.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, originally, it was my sister was still here at the time before she moved back to New York when I was in college.
Gotcha.
So like around my sophomore year, she moved back, and my tribe, like the guys that I was friends with in high school, that were still friends to this day. Like we're family, so they were still here. So after I wasn't playing football, it was hard to just leave and just not necessarily start over, but like this was something that I got content with. It was a group of people that we work well together, and everything we do really excel, and we push each other. So it was like, yeah, I feel comfortable here, and I feel like I can make something happen here. So that's pretty much what kept me there until eventually, everything else I'm doing, my commitments with the job and everything like that.
Right. And outside of the job, we obviously work where we work, but I know you do some other things on the side too, like some outreach with kids and things like that.
Yeah.
So you seem to be very community oriented. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about that kind of aspect of some of the things you do on the side?
Definitely. So first, I coach. I love the game, man. I really love the game. So that's like the closest thing to it. And, just the connection with the kids, trying to direct them to be, young men and definitely contributors to society, but just great athletes and pushing themselves to the limit every day. That really fuels me. So I coach at Dover High freshman. And then also outside of that, and I'm a counselor with some at-risk youth. And then I was like, I really want to do something else. I feel like I can still do more. So me and the homies, we got together and we was like, yo, we think we should do this nonprofit. And it's called the HEEPS Foundation, HEEPS, Help Empower Every Person Services. And it's based to just help the community. We feel like the youth, they need a lot of guidance. I feel like they have a lot of resources and things like that. And we're people that want to do more, and we know that we can, and we do have a reach and a connection with these kids. So we started doing that. We partnered with the Boys and Girls Club in Dover. And we just did workshops about life skills, just trying to encourage them to be the best version of themselves.
Right. And they can kind of look at someone and say, hey, this guy made it, this guy did it.
Yeah.
I can do it myself.
Exactly.
Which is huge for these kids. I don't think people realize that just a positive role model, what it can do for a lot of the youth in society, because a lot of them, unfortunately, like you said, I do feel guilty sometimes, but don't get to wake up every morning and see mom and dad go to work, come home, do the right thing. And so it's nice for them to have that role model. And I like that you emphasize every person, because a lot of times in today's society, we get so fragmented.
Yeah.
It almost gets nauseating. It's like, this is for everyone. And anyone who needs the help, needs the assistance, can do it. And as a liberal snowflake myself, sometimes I get annoyed because we talked about the censorship. It's like if you say something wrong or tweet something wrong, now all of a sudden you're canceled.
Right.
So do you worry about that sometimes when you're rapping or when you're saying something like, oh, shit, someone's going to come at me for this because I'm misogynistic. They hate the women.
So, fuck that. I'm
best
like,
answer there.
you know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, I'm a person, and if I feel this way, I should be able to talk about that. Now, if you judge me, that lets me know what type of person you are. You know what I mean? And I encourage you, and I give you that same freedom. I'm not going to judge you for anything you say. But the more you talk, the more I learn. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if it's not my forte, I'll just tune out.
Or if I'm on Twitter and I want to say, fuck that bitch at Walmart. I don't hate all women.
Right,
But that
right.
one in particular,
Yeah, she's
I
a bitch.
really
She's a
thought
bitch.
she was a bitch. So,
It be like that sometimes,
yeah,
man, you know?
It really do, especially in Walmart. I don't know why, but the older I get, the more annoyed I get when I see like kids. Like there was a 12-year-old dude, little kid, looked like little Jonathan, rolling around on the cart, like the motorized cart. And I was like, if I see like some grandma like walking because you're rolling around that cart, we're gonna fight right in aisle 12.
Man. I feel like that's the one thing that's like lacking this generation. We had respect for our elders, man. I mean, we did some wild things, but there's no way we wasn't just riding in their cars. If we seen somebody behind us that was elder, we'll hold the door open. These kids, man, they'll walk by you, man. They just feel like they know what's going on. They got the world figured out at their age.
And I hate to be the blame social media guy, but I think it's made everyone egocentric. Like, you're only worried about yourself. So you don't even notice people around you. I'm guilty of it myself. I try to hold doors when I walk in and out of Wawa, but sometimes I'm in my phone and I just blow through a door, and then I look to my left and I'm like, oh shit, that woman was right there. I didn't hold the door for her. Or that old man, I almost ran him over.
But even with that, like, you have the conscience and you understand, like, oh, I should have or I could have. Right. You know, they don't do that. It's just like, yo, man, this is my ground. Like you said, it's all about me. Like, come to this space if you want. That's crazy that, like, it turned into that, man.
Well, one of the things that blew my mind when I started working with the kids was their infatuation with numbers. Like, I had a podcast. I put out YouTube videos. So don't get me wrong. I will check how many views or how many likes or how many things. But these kids are literally infatuated with, like, some of the questions they ask each other are, how many followers do you have? Right. How many likes did that post get? And it's like, it's just bizarre to me because it's such a foreign concept. Like, I do get up and probably the third or fourth thing I do is check social media, but it's not to that level. Like, how do you use social media with your rapping? Because I know you put out like your Freestyle Fridays and stuff like that. Yeah. So am I holding you up from doing that right now?
Well, actually, when we was waiting on you to answer the door, we got it done in the car.
No, we're gonna rewind that. So here's it. I live in a development, right? And there's an HOA. And two young black men come in, bumping music in my driveway. So I'm looking dead into the camera here to my HOA. Please don't send me the letter you're going to send me, because I know you're going to send it. Why was there loud music playing in your driveway after the sunset? But no, go ahead with while you were waiting for me.
Man. But
while you were in my driveway for 12 minutes.
Oh man, I was getting my mind right. But I had to do my Freestyle Friday. I feel like it's important for me to sharpen my craft and really work. But the repetition is...
Did you hashtag Mike's driveway in the post?
Yeah. And I put your podcast. But more importantly, like, it's a way to connect with my fans while they wait for future projects and things like that.
And I'm glad you mentioned those future projects, because we can come back. Your episode's going to air on the 27th, correct?
Yes.
So I'll put this up on YouTube. We'll talk about that, but it's either going to be MLK Day because I'm off. Thank you, Martin Luther King Jr. Appreciate that. Gave me a whole day off. You know, you did a lot for society, but for me, you gave me a day off, so I appreciate that. But no, I'll either do it that Monday or Tuesday. Now, the 27th is when they can find it on the Hot 97 YouTube page. And then you also have an album you're putting out, correct?
Yes.
Would an album be the correct way to...
So,
collection, mixtape, EP?
I would call it, I would call it an EP. Okay. It's one of those P's, right? Yeah, I would call it EP. I don't think that I'm in album mode yet. I feel like once I get more established, because the album is something that's like, I feel like you really get a lot of collection into it, and it's something that takes a lot of time. I don't want to do it just, just knock it out. I really want to invest in that. So, though I did invest in this is going to be an EP. I wanted it to be like short and sweet. And one of the reasons for that is because, I noticed that people don't just listen to a whole album. There's a lot of people who just want to hear one song,
that was
two
the problem
songs.
of our generation.
Singles,
we used to go to Sam Goody or wherever it was, and you would just buy a single, and that was that. And then the artist got pissed. It's like, it's a whole story, man. I'm like, you know what? Did I just pay $3 for your single? Shut up,
man. But you hurting us. We need that, right? We don't exist without you guys.
I feel like you would prefer me to pay $3 for 12 singles as opposed to whenever, what was it, $16.99 back then for the whole album?
Right.
Although I get it. Actually, I shouldn't say some. A lot of albums, if you do listen to them from front to back, there is typically an ebb and a flow for the most part. Some are just kind of haphazardly thrown together. But I think my favorite album, and probably the last one that I really, really got into, was College Dropout. And I think that's why I'm so disappointed, I guess, in Kanye.
Yeah.
As a white man, how can you go from trying to buy back our 40 acres to MAGA? Just, how does it happen?
Yeah. That's all you can say about that, man.
Right, and you can't hate on the man, but how do you go from the messages he was sending in College Dropout to supporting Donald Trump? It's bizarre to me. It's insane to me. I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot. You can't go at the man.
I stray away from politics, man. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. But so back to the EP. It's an EP. It's only going to be 8 songs. Like I said, I wanted to be short and sweet. The songs actually like 2 to 3 minutes tops. And like I said, I just realized that people have a short attention span.
Right.
So they're very impactful and strong and definitely everything that you're going to be used to. But I just try to condense it.
That's awesome. So how will people be able to access that? SoundCloud, YouTube, kind of.
Yeah.
Whole...
So it's going to be titled Urban Legend, and it's going to be available on all platforms. Tidal, Apple, Google Play, Amazon, whatever you use. I also, after like some time, will put it for free on SoundCloud and everything like that. And I also have hard copies.
Oh, awesome! You're going to be doing the pop the trunk,
yeah,
sit outside the
you
basketball
know.
game and sell.
I come from that culture, man. That's what I'm from. I'm a '90s baby,
man.
man.
I miss that back in the day where you
Yeah,
just had
man.
people handing out tapes like, "Listen to this, listen to this."
It's different.
It's way different. I remember.
different.
I remember when I learned the old fast forward trick where it would flip to the other side real fast. You could hit the 2 buttons and it would flip over. And be like, yes, now I'm on the B side. This is what's up. But no, so how this is just a stupid question because, like I said, with the podcast, I know it was kind of weird to get on Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. How was it getting on Tidal? Do you have to like send a submission in and then they approve it, or
so well, everything's all about money,
right?
So these big labels, corporations, things like that of that nature, it's a third man party. So I go through DistroKid.
Okay.
And it's a third-party service, and they actually submit it, get everything approved or whatever, and they distribute it for you.
That's what's up. So you upload to them, and then they take care of the distribution.
And there's other things like CD Baby, and people got like, whatever their preference is, but yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, it makes life kind of easier on you. You don't have to call Jay-Z himself and
exactly.
say, hey, I got this sweet album, man. Let me put it on your music platform.
Right.
So is he the guy, since you're a New York guy, or who's like your guy? Man.
So my guy is Nas.
Okay.
My guy is Nas. And
so how'd you feel about that whole beef? Because I feel
man, I think Nas won.
I think most people do, unless they're like Jay-Z fanboys.
I feel as though Jay-Z is more of a business guy.
Oh, that's hard
you know what I mean?
That's hard to dispute.
I think rapping Jay-Z, I feel like it all comes out of preference because both of them got bars. But for me, I like something that really stick. I was just talking about that earlier. It's like peanut butter. It really sticks with you. Jay-Z, I feel like he can just finesse you. He got great bars, great content, but things that Nas say, I feel like it's very empathetic, and I feel like it's very you getting caught up in that moment. It really sticks with you.
I always felt that way with Pac and Big. Like, if I wanted to listen to someone just flow, Big was
put Biggie on, and he'll kill you with it all day.
But then Pac, like you said, like you'd still be thinking about it for 3 days,
right?
Like,
yeah.
So this is the silliest story, but when Changes came out, like I'm listening to TRL Live or whatever it is, and my dad hears the song, and he's like, "Shit!" And so for like 2 days later, he's like thinking about it. I'm like, "See, this is the shit.
Exactly.
This is the way it is."
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so funny that Pac could literally. If you actually gave it a chance, because I know a lot of people didn't, but if you actually gave it a chance, the way he would stick with people was ridiculous, and I unfortunately think that's done.
Yeah, I gotta pause there because I was about to bring you to that. Like the next person for me was J. Cole.
Right,
stick, but everything he said.
But here's my problem with J. Cole. So Pac was obviously egotistical.
We about to burn this
podcast
let's do it. Down. Oh man,
Pac was obviously egotistical. He loved himself, no doubt about it. But no one will tell you how good J. Cole is better than J. Cole, and that's my issue with him. It's like, bro, we know you're good, so pump the brakes a little bit.
Do you have can I check your resources on that? Do you have any footage of him saying that? Or I feel like he's like almost like Gandhi over there, man.
Nah, I don't know.
You know what I think it is? I think is that we say it so much. He doesn't have to say it. We say it so much that he doesn't have to say it.
See, I was hoping you would go Kendrick Lamar. Because I like him a lot. He's a little bit dope. He's not quite as straightforward with a lot of the messages, but like How to Pimp a Butterfly I really liked. Not that I'm like some connoisseur of it. Like I just literally said College Dropout was one of the last albums I listened to from front to back. So it's been a while since I've listened to an album front to back. But no, that's always been my problem with J. Cole, is that the vibe I get is that he will tell you how great of a rapper he is. And he is. He really is. But it's just like, all right, pump your brakes, brother.
So what about Mayweather?
Money Mayweather?
Yeah, can you say anything about Money Mayweather?
As far as what?
As far as a boxer.
The fact that he can't read?
No.
As far
as a boxer.
Yes.
He'll tell you up and down. I feel like if you work for that, you got every bit of room and space to like own that and live and speak on that if you feel like it.
All right. I hear you there, but also people can combat him and say, okay, you're like a little gnat. You run around, you dance around, you tap people in the face for 12 rounds. Neato. I can tell you people would prefer Tyson's style to his, even though Tyson literally got annihilated when he came back,
but,
right?
Again,
or Ali. Like, wouldn't you rather see somebody go down swinging than like, I'm just going to dance around and pluck you in the nose? It's like that annoying guy.
Again,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I appreciate the art and everything, so I love the fact that Tyson got a crazy left hand, but I love the fact that you can't touch Floyd.
And still,
I appreciate his art.
As old as he is, you still can't touch him. It's insane.
You can't touch him.
And he still finds ways to make money. Speaking of Floyd, Conor McGregor's coming back to the UFC.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Completely off tangent, but he pretty much made what? $100 million off of Floyd Mayweather's name.
Yeah.
So
100%.
As much as I want to talk about he's a little gnat and he just wants to dance around and pluck people, the man has found a way to market himself quite well.
Yeah, money gnat.
He is a money gnat.
Yeah.
Can't read, but he's a money gnat. And I apologize. I just keep harping on that 50 Cent thing because although we have a president who can't read. I know you stay out of politics, but I'll keep peppering it. I'll keep peppering it. So,
do you think, Mike?
No.
Oh,
so,
man.
Money Mayweather's one of the greatest of all time. J. Cole, probably one of the greatest of all time. As much as it hurts me to say that.
Thank you. At least you're honest, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? So what do you think is keeping you from kind of blowing up? Is it the Delaware? There's not enough people? Lack of effort? Because I don't want to say there's lack of effort, but you get what I'm saying? Like, we all have a limited amount of time.
Right.
You obviously have to eat. You cannot spend all of your time promoting yourself or going out and doing this, that, and the other thing. What do you think if you could say the one thing you could point to why you haven't been more successful? Because every freestyle I listen to, every song I listen to, I really enjoy that you do.
Right.
Partly because I know you, but also it's just really good. Your flow, it kind of reminds me of like what we listened to when we were growing up.
Right.
So what would you point to as why you haven't kind of quote-unquote popped?
Right. I will have to go straight to where I'm at. Like you said, Delaware, there's not a culture here. There's not a hip-hop culture here. It's not based on that. It's not like Atlanta. It's not like a bigger city of New York. Or
100%. You're not going to find a club on a Wednesday where you could perform. You might get once a month where a club might have something, but that's about it.
And though we can connect with like social media and you can go and reach millions and thousands all over the place or whatever, but that traction has to start at home base, so wherever you're located. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to do that. I'm established here in Delaware now. And I think, like you said, with that and then my work ethic, that's what landed me the opportunity with Hot 97. So now I went from the little small population of Delaware to on a platform of millions on Hot 97 based in New York, but reaching everywhere in the United States.
Right. And I really think you're going to resonate with people. I think, one, your story, and then most importantly, I think your style, your lyrics, your flow, all that fun stuff that goes into it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That's why I was curious because, as you know, it's completely different, but whether you're creating a song or creating a podcast for people to listen to, sometimes you wonder, like, man, I thought that one was really good and only 10 people downloaded it.
Yeah.
And then this one, I barely spent any time on and 1,000 people downloaded it. Like, what? Like, so have you noticed any trend, like, people like this more or people like that more?
So, the Freestyle Fridays, like, I think the best thing that worked for me was I was consistent. Right. I was every Friday, and I counted. I reached in 2019 up to about 41. And for the first half of the year, 6 to 7 months, I did it every Friday. And consistency is what brought people to my page. So now I started going beyond Delaware. And let alone, I'm also in a group. We go by Trio. I'm 1/3 of that. Shout out to Sam and Tribe. And so we pretty much combined in worlds. So now we have access to each other's fan bases as well. So so it's like me, and then my two guys. Like, so now we got 3 people pushing to, broaden the audience.
And is that, because I know you performed at a local festival here, Firefly.
Yeah.
Is that the group you performed with there?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's what's up. How was that? Because we've all been, but we've never been with the artist pass.
Right. Oh,
probably
man.
Ridiculous.
It was nice. But they definitely treated us as if we were Wale, Lil Wayne, all those people that we had an opportunity to open up for and share stage with. And we it was like in the back room. They had each rooms. We had food. We had free drinks and things like that. We got like drivers to take us wherever we need to go on the site and everything like that. So it was very professional in there, and they took care of us. So yeah, it was definitely dope. But like experience alone, that was the first time that myself or us as a unit been in front of a crowd like that. And, when we actually was thousands. And it was so crazy because we started the whole event.
It's got to be scary.
We was on the hub, and we started at 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. We had a whole hour set. So, like, as soon as you wake up in the morning, the first thing you hear is Trio. So, like, that was insane to, like, start it. And, we was over there with the campers and everything. So, it was cool. And after we got off the stage, like, we enjoyed the festival like everybody else,
Yeah. I can only imagine. Do you kind of like the Firefly lineups? Because I know a lot of people have been down on them the past couple of years. I feel like they're still pretty quality, but I just think people get like, oh, it's not like it used to be. Like people just want to say that for no real reason. Well, like I like to say J. Cole's not the greatest rapper ever for no real reason.
Yeah. Sometimes people say silly things, but again, I wasn't originally from here, so I missed out on a lot of the Fireflies. Right. The first time I went actually was when we performed. And
wow.
That was the first time I actually even knew what it was. And after I did that, then I went the following year because I did it the year before. So I was like, all right, cool. So that's how I actually learned about it. So within those 2 years, like for me, the experience blew me away. I didn't care who was there. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is dope. Like I'd never been exposed to a culture like that.
Right. And so obviously it's kind of weird that you'll be able to tell your kids, grandkids, if that happens in your life, whatever, that you literally perform at the same festival that Paul McCartney performed at. Like, isn't that insane to you?
I mean, yeah.
Like, it's not like you shut it down or you were the headliner, but that's still nuts to say that the same festival that one of the Beatles performed at, you performed at, like such different generations.
That's crazy.
Like,
Like, honestly, I didn't think about that until you said it just now. That was the first time I thought about it, and like, it's just it lets you know that you on track,
right?
You know what I mean, to get to where you really want to be.
And speaking of where you really want to be, let's tell the people one more time where they can go to vote and where they can go to listen, because I think that's important as a springboard for you.
Yes. So first and foremost, you can follow me on all social media, on Instagram, Meeze _MEEZE_. And you can go to Hot 97's Instagram or Facebook page, and you'll see episode 3, and it's called Loaded Lux Top Shelf Hot 97 Freestyle, and it'll take you to a YouTube page.
Gotcha.
And then you can view the whole episode. After that, there will be links at the bottom. You just click the link, and it'll send you to Hot 97, where you can view the whole video or each video individual for each rapper out of the 4.
Right.
And then after that, it's a green button. You don't have to download anything. You just press green for whoever you want to vote for.
Which is huge. So did you hear that? Me. Did you hear that, people? Listen to me. I don't want you to tell me, oh, Mike, I had to give my email address. I had to download this. I didn't want to do it. It's nothing. You literally click a button, listen to the man rap, and then hit vote. That's all I want you to do.
Yep.
I'm also going to make it even easier for all you lazy people right now. If you hit see more in the description, there will be links to his Instagram page and to the Loaded Lux Freestyle page. So there's no excuse for you guys to not go vote if you listen to this. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I will let you enjoy your Friday night.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you for having me. Awesome.